Well guys, I got a new Wave You-Go easel, just a small one, and I am going to get a larger one next week, or maybe the week after that, depending on when it finally does arrive. So I thought I'd show it to you and just do a small little, very impressionistic painting of my street where I live and the sunshine as the sun is going down. Hope you enjoy it. So I'm not going to bore you with opening the whole box up, but I got my new little easel, and it's a tiny one. Look how little it is. This is perfect for my watercolor or a small plein air that I want to do in maybe acrylic or oil. You can turn it this way if you want to as well. Put it up like that or like that. It's got its little hole back here for the easel, so you can screw it down. It's your tripod mount. These are magnetic and they move in and out so easily. This is one of many things the You-Go plein air Wave manufacturing company makes. Two fellas, I believe it is, that do all the work. This comes out, I just tried this on here. This is actually the one for if you're trying to use a flat panel or maybe even a piece of canvas attached to a panel. But if you want to use a piece, a nice fairly thick canvas that's mounted already, then you use this. And then go up higher and lower. It's fairly lightweight. I think it's 1.3 pounds. I have Strata, but I have issues with it. Of course, Strata is always wonderful, but I like the depth here. There's almost nothing. I can work without having to go inside and then have this lip here that Strata has I don't care for. And I can remove this easel very easily that's inside here. If you want to get a glass one, you can, but otherwise this plastic is just fine for me. There's a magnetic thing that just comes on and off. Very strong magnets. I'm trying to do this with one hand. Magnets here that hold the top shut. All you do is make sure you've got this down there and up there so it can close easily. And then it's shut. Look how little it is. It's perfect. It's just perfect to slip in my watercolor bag. I love it. And I'm waiting for the larger one. I skipped the medium one because my Strata is like a mini, but I wanted a wider surface for painting. I did not want the little side. They're very cute, but they make little side, I guess, storage areas where you can put your brushes and paints if you want to. I don't want that. I have a hanging thing that holds my brushes. I don't want all that extra room. I don't want to take all that extra stuff. I just wanted a wider surface when I was working. And that's all I need. So, we'll see how they work out. I will show you. In the meantime, I'm very excited. I think I have another week and a half to wait for the larger one to come. And we will see. This is the bottom of the one you use for a canvas instead of just a panel. Anyway, you'll get to see me working with these. I want to paint this little scene here. I've decided to tone this canvas just a little because I really like the gold shining through. And then I'm going to restate where these parts are again and bring this horizon line down just a little bit more. So I'm using some Naples yellow, which is a very, very faint yellow. It's almost a tint of yellow. Mixed with white, you can hardly tell it's yellow, which is exactly what I need for the brightness right up in here. And then we have yellow ochre, ultramarine blue, a magenta, a white, and then I'm using this little fun color here, which is yellow green. And these are Cobra water mixable oils. And I'm just going to do some scrubbing in of some of the dark areas on this. I've restated where I want my horizon line down lower, not so high up. And then we'll go ahead and just put the darks in first, then the mediums, then the lights. So I need a nice dark green, so I take my yellow ochre, mix with my ultramarine blue, and make myself a nice dark green. If I want it even darker, I could add a tiny bit of red to that, and that will darken up even more. And then I'm going to start putting in where I want the darkness from where the tree overlaps. It's going to be the darkest part of the painting, actually. And around that will be the light shining through. So let me make sure I get this in the exact right area, and I'll get back to you. So I have my darkest darks in, and now I'm starting to put in some mediums here. Just to still squint my eyes, get an idea where I want these things to be. Grasses are going this way. Lighten that up just a little bit. Got a beautiful light bank of leaves going this way on this tree. And now I'm going to put in a little bit of this street in here, which is kind of a purpley color. So I'll be mixing some of the red with the blue and the white to get that color, maybe a touch of yellow. All these things will be adjusted. But I'm putting in some of this shadow here that I see. Just keep squinting your eyes to get the concept of what you want in there, which is other buildings that you can't really see very well. And then you can lighten some of these spots here and there, but we'll get to that later, just to show you that it then looks like there's buildings back there. And we'll go back in and restate that center with a little bit brighter yellow when we're done. So what we have right now is just a very big abstract painting. From here, you put your detail in. Hard to paint inside because you can't usually step back far enough. But I'm kind of getting my idea in here of what I want. Slowly starting to look like trees and buildings and streets. When this painting is completely dry, I'll put a little bit more detail of the cars and things in there. So I just want to stand back and I want to get the nice darks in there. Squint your eyes. You don't need a lot of strokes. Remember, we're not trying to paint every little leaf in there. We have to differentiate between the light and the dark, or we have no painting. Okay, I'm going to try to take some of the tape off of this without knocking the entire painting on the floor, which I actually did a few moments ago while I was trying to move it. Just want you to see kind of what it looks like. I'm going to show it to you with my faux frame on it, but I'm not going to take the top tape off because that's holding it on. But this will give you some idea of what it looks like without the tape. Ready, get set. Please don't fall on the floor. Just put it up like that, and there you go. So it's kind of framed out there. It always looks better that way. If I take that one off, I'm in trouble. And the problem is that this was cut pretty close to the edge, and I really can't afford to put more tape here, or I would have an even smaller painting. But there it is, guys. So here's a close-up of the finished painting. Yes, this is very chunky. Lots of paint on this, very impressionistic. Impressionistic cars back there in front of these buildings. Can barely tell what they are, but I think you have an understanding that, of course, we're in front of these buildings, and so those are vehicles. There's some windows. Who knows if those are porches? They are, but you know, it's just supposed to be an impression. Here's the light shining on the street here, coming through the trees at sundown. All the shadows coming off the trees. The driveway's off to the side. So hopefully if I have to explain everything, it's probably not very successful, but it's an impression of my street as I look down it as the sun is going down, highlighting some of the beautiful branches of the trees with the leaves. I think this actual tree here broke that branch off and fell last week and had to get chopped up. So, as is often the case, you get a painting of something that isn't there a week later. Anyway, you step back and you look at your painting from far away to decide if in fact you think you were successful in relaying what you were trying to, which is the sun coming through the tree and splashing onto the street there. Let's see how we do with a little watercolor. I just did a small little watercolor just to see how this would work out. And right now I've got my water here, but I also have a thing that I can snap on the side here. This is hanging on to the magnets, which is perfect, so it cannot fall off. I can put my trash here if I want to. It's holding my little book that I paint out of perfectly. I can put it up and down however I want it, depending on how I want it to dry. Just remember to use your hand on the easel when you're lifting it back and forth, not on the little adapter that's holding it, because that's on a magnet and you can pull that off. I have a little jar over here that I'm hanging my brushes from, but yes, I think I'm going to go ahead and get the little adapters for the side of this, and then I'll have the option of using either one. But anyway, just a small little watercolor just to see how it worked out, and believe me, it worked out beautifully. It's perfect.